some kind of event coming up in a few weeks. But you have to hunt for this information. And so I guess question number one is I know you when you were a media professional, working and running a radio station. Why is it that your legal team seems to be operating perfectly well? Your political team seems to be doing pretty good. At least they got you elected. But the media and the public relations team, at least as it stands now, seems to be just doing a pitiful job. Why isn't there a place that people can go to find out, hey, Tracy Hunter, it's Sunday, January the 4th, Tracy Hunter's going to be doing a 2-hour interview on the radio. Hey, if you want to be involved in the fundraiser, here's where you go to get information. That seems to be a big problem.
Do you want me to start to address that a little bit?
Yeah. I think because obviously you got a lot of stuff you want to talk about, and so we want to make sure that Judge Hunter have an opportunity to respond to you. Judge Hunter, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Mr. Livingston, I don't have a PR in the media team, and you're absolutely right. I do have a background in the media and spent many years, as you know, running a Christian radio station here in Cincinnati. In fact, the first gospel radio station here in Cincinnati. But once I became judge, there's a distinct difference between, of course, running a radio station and having a background in media and being a judge. And there are extreme limitations that are placed on judges. And so quite honestly, as a very, brand new judge going in, I didn't go in anticipating all of this. I knew there would be backlash, as the last caller mentioned, but I did not know that they would spend every literally waking moment, and I kid you not, trying to plot and scheme to get me out of office after I spent 2 years, as you know, in a lawsuit trying to get in office. And so once I was there, I personally turned all my attention, quite honestly, to doing what I went to do, being a judge, helping to improve the system, trying to rehabilitate juveniles. I don't have a PR and I don't have a media team. And so what you see now, quite honestly, is persons that have just risen to the occasion, and they're just doing the best that they can to assist me, to support me. Again, as a judge, we can't speak, and so oftentimes there were attacks. Every day there were attacks that were taking place against me, literally every single day. They were coming from within the court, they were coming from without the court, and they were using the media to work for them against me, basically. But I still had to do what I went to do, and that was focus on being a judge. So I couldn't. That's why it got to this level, because for the last 4 years, as you know, this has been escalating. This is just started in 2010. It escalated to where it is now. And I was just focusing on doing my job, so I don't have any paid experts doing anything for me. The people and those individuals that rise up to respond, they're doing it out of their own sense of injustice, and they're just trying to help to right some wrong. So we don't have any professionals, if you will. So I understand where you're coming from, but we just don't have a professional team that we're paying to do anything for us.
Well, let me
and the other thing, Nate, let me also say, Nate, let me also say that because of the holidays and those kinds of things, a lot of people were not in place. So I also agree that maybe more promotion should have taken place, but because of the constraints of people being in place to do promos and those kinds of things, I think that may have also contributed to the lack of exposure to what we're doing.
Well, actually, that leads me to my next question, because I want to piggyback off of you mentioned that you're in the movie Selma, that there is the Cincinnati Improvement Association is having a screening, and I'm hoping that people will go see that, even if they can't make it to the screening, that they'll go see the movie. And what I'm taking that the movie will show is the amount of effort that it takes to sustain a movement. Now, when I look at what's going on in Ferguson and what's going on in New York, and I contrast that with what's going on in Cincinnati, I see sustained action in Ferguson. I see sustained action in New York. But last week, and we know because we listen to your show regularly, we know that you were simulcasting. Well, that's probably not the right word, but you had people calling in from the call to action last Sunday. But Mayor Neal, I believe that I'm right when I say that a whole week has passed, and You had the call to action last week, and yet a whole week has passed, and there has been not a single action, a direct action that's taken place. And so I want to know your thoughts, Mayor Neal, and you, of course, you too, Judge Hunter. But how do people in Cincinnati not get that for a movement to be successful, like Selma or Birmingham or any of the other ones that you want to point to, or Ferguson, current day, you must have sustained action. You can't have a call to action on Sunday and then go home, put your pajamas on, and in the bed from Monday through the next Sunday and just call the radio. And so I'm wondering, well, let me just say this and then I'll hang up and I'll leave the rest of my questions on the table. But I understand that you're going to be there at the screening. Is that right, Mayor Neal?
What I'm going to do is there's going to be a gathering after the screening, after the movie, and I'm going to be piped in through Skype, and I'm going to kind of have a conversation. I won't be there in person, but I will be there visually as well as in spirit. So, but we'll talk about that. But you raise a critical point, Mr. Livingston. And what we'll do is we'll talk about that. And let me tell you why. Because you don't have a movement unless you have sustainability. You have a protest, but there's a difference between a protest and a movement. And we're going to talk about the difference between a people in motion and a movement, because there's a distinct difference there as well.
Mayor, I hear the music. Can I just ask one thing for Judge Hunter to comment on when she comes back, because I'm going to hang up.
Okay.
I hear them talking about when they talk about juvenile court reform, there's always a focus on the children, and I understand that. But I believe that we make a mistake when we do not talk about the other people who are caught up in the juvenile court system. That's the people who are caught up in this, whether it's the child support system or the other systems affecting adults. And I never hear people talk about that. And I think you lose a lot of people who might be drawn to the need for reform because they've seen their brothers or cousins or fathers or uncles or whatever get locked up because of child support or because of failure to properly supervise children or whatever it is. And I wonder if Judge Hunter can talk about some of the reforms that she did or that she thinks need to be taking place in the future. And
absolutely.
That,
thank you.
I do appreciate all the time, and I'm with you, Judge Hunter. This is your close personal friend, Nate Livingston. To be down there at the screen so I can talk to you in person.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Okay. Okay, all right, what we're going to do, thanks, Nate. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break again. We're talking with Judge Pastor Tracy M. Hunter. And, of course, we're discussing a whole lot of issues. Certainly, we're dealing with the juvenile justice system and all of the nuances attached to that particular system, all of the inequities and the disparities that exist, and how do we deal with those? We're going to talk about solutions when we return. I hope you can remember the question that Nate put forth, Judge, and I'll try to remember how he was had posed the question to me. We'll be right back. Stay close.
Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. At 7 a.m., I shower. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. At 7 a.m., I shower. I start laundry at 8. At 10, we go for a walk. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers for advice, tips, and support. Together, let's help each other better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Smile.
Smile, buddy.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy. You know how boys are.
Or maybe he's teething. Oh, poor baby. I think his gums hurt.
Maybe he's just tired.
Or maybe his tummy hurts. He didn't eat that much.
Maybe he's not ticklish.
You think maybe he's scared of the dog?
Maybe he'll outgrow it. Maybe it's a phase. Maybe he just doesn't like smiling.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs or see a doctor today for an autism screening. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better. And it can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
When Dad needed help getting around, I became his driver. Any daughter would do the same. But soon enough, he needed help doing more things, and it was up to me to be his personal shopper and financial manager, too. And before I knew it, Dad moved in with me, so I became his cook, his personal assistant, his physical therapist, and even his nurse. When I started taking care of Dad, I didn't realize all the roles I'd have to play. But no matter what, I know I'm still his daughter.
We understand the many roles you play. And to help, we created an online caregiving resource center. At aarp.org/caregiving, you can find resources and connect with the caregiving community. Together, we can better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to learn more. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
Okay, here goes. I know more about cooking dinner for a party of 12 than I do about packing a lunch for a 12-year-old. I know kids like things like PB&J, pigs in a blanket. Oh, and fish sticks. They do love fish sticks. Fillets I get, but sticks? What part of the fish does the stick come from? I know I can read a cookbook that'll tell me how to make a red wine reduction. But where are the cookbooks that can teach me how to cut the crusts off bologna sandwiches? Oh, maybe we can compromise on mac and cheese. Can you make that with brie? Everybody likes brie, right?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to push your food around their plate. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Around the corner, around the world. We're your talk station, 1230 The Buzz.
Welcome again to You Got the Power. I am your host, Omar Neal. Today we have an exclusive interview with Judge Pastor Tracy M. Hunter. And of course, we have enjoyed the conversation thus far. And of course, we know that we're going to have even more of an intense dialogue with Judge Hunter as we progress through the show. She will be with us for the entire 2 hours. So we have a little more than an hour left with Judge Hunter. You can join us by giving us a call at 513-749-1230. That's 513-749-1230. And don't forget about our sponsors, because if it were not for our sponsors, it would not be a You Got the Power program. Don't forget about Stewart View Apartments. They're located in Oakley, Madisonville. And, of course, they have newly renovated apartments featuring spacious bedrooms with double-door closets, over 800 square feet of living space, about 10 minutes away from the Kenwood Town Center, across from the Med Place Research Facility. They have hardwood floors as well as wall-to-wall carpeting. And, of course, the owner pays both heat and water, all for a low price of $625. Let me say that again, because I was about to say, it's $200. No, it's $625 a month. And of course, these apartments won't last. We know that. They are absolutely not going to last. So this is how you can do it. Give them a call at 513-205-2656. That's 513-205-2656. 2656. And of course, don't forget about our friends at Bill Brown Eastside Realty for all of your housing needs, whether you're buying or selling. Call Bill Brown Eastside Realty, serving Greater Cincinnati from the educational community of Livingston for over 45 years. So when you're thinking of growing your family housing, you need to think no longer. Call Bill Brown Eastside Realty, where buying and selling a house is no burden. Or you could give them a call at 513-221-5221. That's 513-221-5221. And also, don't forget about the Cincinnati Improvement Association, the CIA, and they invite you to join them on January 10th. That's this coming Saturday for a matinee at 10 o'clock for the showing of Selma at the Cinema Deluxe Springdale 18. It's Selma coming to Cincinnati, and of course, you need to be there. They have tickets available, and of course, it's limited seating. So you want to get your tickets immediately, and you need to buy them in advance. And this will be an opportunity where you know you're going to be there with people who are really thinking about solutions, really thinking about the gravity of the moment. And so that's why it's important not just to go, but to go with people who are thinking and who committed to create that more perfect community that you like to see. And, of course, give them a call at 513-205-2656. That's 513-205-2656. Or give them a call at 513-378-1552. That's 513-378-1552. That's 513-205-2656 is the number to call. All right, you're back again with You Got the Power. Let me give you those numbers again. It's 513-205-2656. That's 513-205-2656. That's 513-378-1552 to get your tickets to see Selma. It's a matinee on January the 10th, and of course it's at the Cinema Deluxe Springdale 18. It's the movie Selma, and of course we're excited about it. It's now getting rave reviews. Everybody who's seen it are talking about it. It's absolutely a must see. You know, there comes a time where there are movies that come along, and they don't come along every day. That's a must-see that elevates the conversation, that elevates the dialogue, that elevates the consciousness. Selma is one of those movies, and so you want to make sure that you go and see Selma. The other thing, I want you to know, the first 3 days that any movie is released, that's when their ratings take place. So you don't want to wait. You want to go when it's open so that you can make sure that Selma gets the credits. Selma gets the recognition that it needs to be one of the best movies made. And when we do that, then more movies like Selma will be made, because people will see the financial benefit of making movies of conscience. And so we want to encourage you to go on the 10th at the matinee. But if you don't get there on the 10th, make sure you go on the first 3 days. We're talking with Judge Tracy M. Hunter. Judge Hunter is our guest for the entire 2 hours. We've had almost an hour with Judge Hunter, and of course we'll have the entire remaining hour with her. But what we're going to do is there were some questions that were raised, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to merely make a statement about what Nate Livingston said about the sustaining of a movement. And when you have a call to action, the correlation of action and some kind of assignment should take place. Let me tell you this. This happened to me when Harry Belafonte asked that I come and moderate a gathering of the elders. And so what he did was he called some of the most powerful leaders around the country to meet in Atlanta, Georgia, which what he termed as the gathering of the elders. And so I moderated that for him for a few days. And I remember Ruby Dee, Ozzie Davis' wife. They're both in heaven now. But I remember her standing up